Hello everyone, good morning. This is Sage, live from Kalkine Studios, and you are watching the early trades. While the commodity super cycle and key economic events are closely eyed by market participants, Australia's federal budget has opened glimmers of hope for businesses, economy and households. At the same time, simmering inflation expectations continue to drive the market volatility. Let us cast an eye over how the market charter is panning out on a day after the federal budget. Australian shares are trading marginally lower on Wednesday, tracking a sell-off on Wall Street overnight as worries about rising inflation in the United States set a risk-averse mood. The US equities was seen hitting a one-month low as speculation about increasing inflation pressure led to the possibility of prompt interest rate hikes in the near future, which dragged stock market and hobbled the dollar. Looking at commodities space, gold recovered from early declines as softer US dollar negated losses arising by the rising US Treasury yields. ASX gold shares such as De Grey Mining Limited, Newcrest Mining Limited, Gold Resources and Resolute Mining Limited are trading in the green zone. And moving on, energy sectors under the scanner today. Oil prices remained highly volatile during the day and had reversed all early losses by the end of Tuesday's session. The gains materialised on the back of fears of a gasoline shortage after a cyber attack caused an outage at the largest US fuel pipeline system. And having said that, India's virus havoc continues to offer significant tailwinds. Australian energy companies such as Santos Limited, Origin Energy Limited and Woodside Petroleum Limited are trading in the red territory. And moving on, the IT sector seems to be recouping the losses incurred amid tech sector rout this week. And surprisingly, technology shares were among the biggest losses during the opening session on Wall Street, mirroring a sell-off in China, where talks of stringent regulations sent tech companies skidding. But US shares recovered from some of their losses over the course of the day. And notably, the IT shares such as Nearmap and Zipco are under the spotlight among the top 5 ASX 200 gainers. And moving on to the major newsmakers, the biggest news of the day is the earnings update from the Big Four bank Commonwealth. Commonwealth Bank has reported cash profits for its third quarter of 2.4 billion Australian dollars on the back of surging lending to business, and the bank's CEO, Matt Comyn, said measures announced in Tuesday's federal budget will encourage more businesses to borrow. Donor management system for charities operating within the United States, PushPay Holdings Limited, reported an increased operating revenue of approximately $52 million for the year ended 31st March 2021, and representing an increase of 40%. Online marketplace carsales.com Limited has said that it will acquire 49% of US digital marketplace business Trader Interactive for 797 million Australian dollars. And moving on, Battle North Gold. Shareholders have approved Evolution Mining's acquisition of the company for $361.7 million. Then, the industrial player CSR Limited said that its revenue from ordinary activities declined 4% to Australian $2 billion, while net profit after tax and after significant items rose 17% to 146 million Australian dollars. Next is energy company AusNet Services, which operates electricity and gas distribution networks, reported a revenue fall of 2.7% and a EBITDA decline of 3.5% for the year ending March. The Australian Office of Financial Management, or AOFM, is in plans to issue around 130 billion Australian dollars of Treasury bonds in 21-22 following the release of the federal budget. And moving on now, let us zoom our lens on some of the measures revealed in the nation's federal budget yesterday. The aged care sector has got a fresh infusion of 17.7 billion Australian dollars funding over the next 4 years. In a move that is likely to enhance the political profile of Scott Morrison's government, up to 10 million people will receive yet another tax offset of up to $1,080 in refunds as scheme has been extended to 2023. And moving on, a new patent box regime is aimed at giving tax breaks on the income made from Australian medical and biotechnology inventions. The government has also allocated 1.2 billion Australian dollars over the next 6 years as part of its digital economy strategy. Next, the federal government has committed to spend 3.4 billion Australian dollars over the next 5 years as part of its pledge to deliver a more women-centric budget. Well, planning to own a home? The government has said that the people saving for their first home deposit will be able to put away up to 20,000 Australian dollars extra in voluntary contributions to the First Home Super Saver scheme. And the contribution cap has been increased to 50,000 Australian dollars, up from 30,000 Australian dollars. Notably, the federal government has committed to add another 10 billion Australian dollars over 10 years to budget for roads, highway and construction of freight hubs. And New South Wales will get almost 1/3 of fresh allocation, worth more than 3 billion Australian dollars. Let us also see how the nation's federal budget aims to help the virus-battered sectors rebound to their pre-pandemic state. The Australian government's big spending federal budget 2021-22 is primarily focused on creating jobs and bolstering economic growth after the COVID-19 pandemic. At the same time, the recently announced budget aims to build Australia's economic resilience to cope up with future shocks. Pandemic-hit tourism and aviation sectors heaved a sigh of relief. The government has unveiled 1.2 billion Australian dollars package to support aviation and tourism sectors, to safeguard jobs, keep planes in the air and encourage Aussies to explore their own backyard. And the package includes 274.6 million Australian dollars in support for tour operators, zoos, aquariums, business events and travel agents. Next, the recently announced budget also delivers about 300 million Australian dollar support for the creative and entertainment sector, which was one of the first sectors to bear the brunt of the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, as part of the 2020-21 federal budget, the government provided 903.5 million Australian dollars in support for people wanting to access higher education and for more places. The government now has decided to invest 26.1 million Australian dollars to provide an extra 5,000 Commonwealth-supported short course places this year. And furthermore, the government is extending regulatory fee relief for overseas education providers until 31st December 2021 and has provided a total of 50,000 extra higher education short courses. Thanks so much for your time joining us on that one, and that is all for now. Do stay tuned for more live updates on Kalkine TV across the economy, markets and sectors, and we will be bringing you budget details and analysis upcoming in the live show, so stay glued with us on Kalkine TV. And this is Sage signing off.